Well, we are upon the cusp of one of the most beautiful months of the year. Magic. The magic month, when the magic happens for a lot of people.
Well, you're not wrong. I'm only...
Did I just say that Chloe was going to be a good dog?
Yeah, and she immediately grabbed a squeaky toy. Way to go.
Yeah.
Track that down. Have fun with that. Or I can do it.
I think she's... Well, we'll see. We'll give her the grace for...
Maybe we'll get lucky
one
and
more
she'll just go in the other room.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how excited are you for this year? Hunting.
I got a lot going, and I'm pretty excited. I'm still not 100% settled. I know this is going to come out pretty much at the beginning of all of it. I've already gone antelope hunting because I'm going next week, but we're a couple weeks ahead here. But yeah, I could be hunting up to 3 states, possibly in September. Never done that.
Oh.
Maybe.
Elk hunts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, although I still haven't, I've bought my Washington tag, but I haven't picked it up. So I could still decide to pull an audible and pick a different.
Would that be inclusive in your 3 states?
Inclusive? What do you mean?
How would that be part of your 3 states, Washington?
Well, elk. If I didn't pick up the archery tag, if I picked up muzzleloader, that's in October.
Oh, I got you.
So if I running out of time and I can't cover it because the Washington elk season's 10 days or.
So what states are we thinking about? We're thinking about Washington, Idaho, and what's the third?
Possibly New Mexico.
Oh,
I might.
Mexico.
I might.
The motherland.
Yeah, there's still landowner tags in there.
And, there's always excess.
Well, but there's more than normal, so the price of them keeps dropping.
Yeah.
I told myself if it gets down to a certain price, I'd pull the trigger on it.
Just go, you bastard. If you,
I'm frugal, man.
If you're a person who's willing to travel on a short schedule, you can always get tags.
Yeah.
On a short notice, which can be a good opportunity if you're willing to do that. And would it be for the first or the second season? Do you know?
I think the first, actually.
The first is like the first 2 weeks of September typically, and the second is, yeah,
and that's my hang up because I've got to pick which area I'm hunting in Idaho. I haven't picked that yet either. I've always hunted in the Panhandle, but I might go somewhere different depending. And I'll figure that out this next week and hammer down what I'm going to do. It's scary to me because I've never done anything like that.
Yeah,
I just haven't done it.
It is scary.
So it's like
I
don't know if I'm being irresponsible.
You talk about driving basically a day away from home.
Yeah.
Right, like a full day's drive, depending on how high north or south you are in New Mexico. But it is pretty scary. And if you haven't done it in a while, I understand.
I mean, honestly,
but you're probably not being irresponsible.
I don't know.
It's probably just something you haven't done in a while.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's not the going a ways away. It's like, should I be doing this?
Oh, right, yeah.
Like, should I really be doing this?
Like
I mean, is this like financially, businessy, future responsibly, or what? I don't know. I just question whether or not I should do it.
Like your ethics or whatever. Like, is it actually a good idea to be gone? Yeah.
Yeah, is it a good idea to basically be gone for probably close to 3 weeks of the month? Which I've gone 2 weeks before, but I've never gone more than that. And I think there's.
So you have like a.
Well, I'll be gone from the 20th to the 25th, so of August, right? And then I'd be home for a week or to 2, and then probably gone for another 3. I don't know. It's a long time to be gone, and it's a lot of pre-work on the videos and whatnot and scheduling, and everything's sitting there ready to go. And I've got a whole bunch to edit, and I could easily fill up my month worth of stuff. And I have to coordinate with, I think it's Bear, because I think they're coming out in September. Yeah, I think they're dropping their bows in September this year.
Well, they're just going to have to coordinate with you, because you can't always be around when it's hunting season.
Yeah, no, I get that, but it's important to me to put that stuff out as soon as you're allowed to put it out. as early as you're allowed to put it out because I like people to be able to make their decisions quicker and have adequate information or knowledge of what they're looking for.
Yeah.
But that also means I need to finalize my scoring system because those are 2024 bows at that point. Like everything else that I've seen thus far is kind of like a 2020 or 2025 bows. It's like a 2024, I think.
That could work if you knew when all this stuff is coming out. But dude, they're not that good at planning dates.
They know when they're just coming out. I just got to check what it is because they still don't send me bows like ahead of time.
That's what I'm saying. So
Bear doesn't.
If they want you to have it out and you're going to be gone, they should have it in your hands.
Well, my rep has in the last year or so, he's just driven over like as soon as he's got his samples before they launch.
Yeah.
And lets me use his samples. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you'd think it'd be to the point that they would just send me bows and not have to worry about it. And I don't mind it. It's not. As long as it's got at least a couple days, in there, it might be decent to break up when I'm hunting by a couple of days, come home for a couple of days and then leave again. That kind of thing, check in with everybody, make sure the building's not on fire and nobody quit, which I've had happen when I was going just get a call like the first day of the hunt and hey, so-and-so just quit.
That's like, Murphy's Law, right?
Oh my God, really?
What can go wrong will go wrong?
Yeah. Yeah. So, and
can you just hang a sign on the door that says like, service will not be as good in September? We'll be hunting or thinking about hunting.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of shops like shut down for a period of time. Yeah. They just close. So we're just not open. We're going hunting. Like, which you would think the customer would be like respectful of that, but because of our online store and the number of states that we service, like their seasons don't open at the same time, right?
Yeah.
You go back east and they don't even think, they're just starting to think about hunting. Like we're like, okay, I hope your shit's dialed. It's time to go in like a week or two.
Yeah.
And they're like just starting to blow dust off the bow and practice.
Yeah. We'll have friends that are probably pronghorn hunting right now.
Yeah.
Or very within days.
Yeah. Nolan's on a hunt right now with his buddy.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's happening.
Yeah, it's happening. And
it sounds like Donkey Kong, Jack.
Yeah. Yeah. And well, gosh, there's places where it's earlier. James has been hunting for a month.
You can freaking you can pronghorn opener is like August 1st in some places.
Well, California opens stuff in July.
Yeah, they do.
Like what?
Mule deer opens. Gosh, I was probably already gone and back to Nevada.
Yeah, you were in Nevada in August last year.
Yeah, it was like August 5th or something crazy. Like it opened. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there's early opportunity all across the West. Could have been bear hunting or whatever. It's here. So you committed to which bow you're going to bring with you to your first hunt? Not like that.
Oh, I thought you could do it here. Damn it. Hello, folks. Thanks for listening or watching on whatever platform it is that you're choosing to watch. If you like what we're doing and you want to help support the pod, head on over to podiumarcher.com for all those archery needs. $99 and up is free shipping, and you can use coupon code TIMC to save a little money. And we also have a coupon code for Jocko, and they came out with this new line of hydrate stuff that is basically like a better Gatorade, Powerade, whatever kind of aid you like. Tried like 3 of them. They're really freaking good, but we have a coupon code over there, Josh and Tim. Save you a little money as well. Let's get back to the pod. Yeah, I'm going to shoot my my Lift 33. I've got a Booney sight on it with an UltraView 2-pin scope head on it that I've taken the batteries out of, so it's not a legal issue.
I thought you just modified that, or no?
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Okay.
Yeah, I was playing with it yesterday, and the pins were blockier, and the housing was bigger. I'm like, well, I got to put a different peep in it, and I'm not getting the same drop, and da-da-da-da. I'm like, screw it. Just put the other one back on, take the battery out of it.
Yeah.
And
you're probably not going to shoot low light, likely anyway, right?
Yeah, not particularly, but it's got fiber exposed, so it's not like terrible. It's not quite as bright as some of the other ones. And honestly, it's a little too late in the game to do much different other than what I'm doing. Honestly, it's just too much. So I'm going to leave that as it is, put that scope back on it, and rock that bow. And I'm shooting really light arrows really fast. And they'll probably just bounce off. And I'm shooting a Bowmar Beast 2-inch. And it is a pretty amazing broadhead. It really is. Out of everything I've tried, the flight characteristics of it, it just doesn't drop the same. It drops like your field point. She's got, gosh dang it.
Really?
See?
Hey,
somebody made a comment about being good. She doesn't get the concept that you're not supposed to make squeaky, squeaky noises during the pod. What do you know? Such is life. Dogs don't know no better. Now she's going to be whiny.
Yeah, we all have to have some versions of discipline, don't we? I mean, you can't go to school in your underwear, can you?
You could. They might send you home, though. Yeah. Imagine. Depends on what your school is.
Like a podcast.
Maybe you got a school for that.
Podcast in your underwear, probably.
Probably get away with that, I would think. But
people don't mind looking at your dirty socks.
Would want to, right? Yeah, there are comments. Believe it or not, these are clean. They're just dingy.
They've been used.
Because I'm cheap and I don't replace them. And I don't bleach my whites. I know you're supposed to, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's part of the deal.
Well, you're I guess you're technically a bachelor, right?
What's the definition of a bachelor?
I think it's married, isn't it?
I am not married.
Right.
Yeah. I am in a committed relationship, but I am not married.
Yeah.
So.
And you have been for a little while now.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while.
And she shoots a bow a little bit.
She's learning. Yeah. She's still learning.
Does she enjoy it?
Some days she gets frustrated. Some days she enjoys it.
Yeah.
But yeah, in general, she definitely does.
Yeah, there's something about some adults when they're learning something new like that. They get real frustrated because I see it in golf.
Sure.
And it's like, why are you frustrated? Like, it's challenging. And where did you earn the right to get frustrated? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, have you been practicing real hard? Have you been doing your homework? Because most of the time, the answer is no, right? Like, most people aren't doing the homework. Some people are, and I can understand getting frustrated, but it's hard for adults to learn things that are brand new.
Yeah, no, that's very true. Learning a new skill or a new hobby or whatnot can definitely be very frustrating. The older you get, you're used to being successful at things.
Yes, exactly.
So being reminded what failure feels like is not always an enjoyable thing.
Yeah,
I think it's a great thing on it personally, but some people just don't like it.
Yeah, it's challenging
for sure. Absolutely.
Do you think she'll ever hunt?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
No,
That's cool.
Yeah, she is. She's gonna hunt. That's why she wanted to.
The crazier thing is, your daughter came and asked about the shop being open. I was like, what does she want in the shop? And you're like, she wants to go shoot her bow. I was like, what?
Yeah. Well, technically right now she's shooting.
Both of them have been pretty. They haven't taken to archery, right?
Nope.
Neither of your daughters.
But both recently seem to want to. My youngest especially, and she is every day she's been here, which she's here 4 nights a week or so.
Yeah.
She has taken my keys and gone down to the shop and shot after everything's closed.
On her own accord?
On her own accord. Every night.
Has she asked you for any advice at all?
No, I went down the first time and made sure she knew what she was doing. And
where to point it.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. And then I just leave her alone. Let her do it.
How's her form look?
I haven't seen her since she started, because when she was started, she was leaning pretty good, and I just tried to emphasize a couple of things and then just go shoot. I think she just does it to wind down after work.
It is good that way. If you have a busy mind, it's a good thing to focus your busy mind on.
Yeah, it clears your head.
Yeah, it clears your head because you can only focus on one task.
This is true.
It's a lot like for me, I think it's comparable to fly fishing. Like, it's an all-consuming effort, and you're just focused on that thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Golf is that way too as you're doing it, but then you have time in between your shots, so you can be wherever you want to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you engage and disengage frequently.
Which is interesting about golf, because a lot of people are like, I just can't focus. And I explained to them, you need to be focused and present for 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Then you can literally fuck off and do whatever you want to do. You can go talk with your friends. You can, you can do whatever you want. But you just have to lock in and then lock out, which is like an interesting skill.
That's the unique thing about golf is it's very much a casual, leisurely, enjoyable sport.
And for a lot of people,
because you spend more time talking to each other than you spend hitting a golf ball.
For a lot of people, that's solely the reason they do it, is they want to be out with their friends, and a lot of them like to be outdoors. Like, a lot of golfers are skiers. They kind of share that. Hey, I want to be outdoors doing something recreational. That's fun.
Which in that regard, it really is very similar to shooting a 3D shoot.
Yeah.
Because you shoot you need focus for 15 seconds.
Exactly. Lock in, lock out.
And then dick off for the next 20 minutes. And then focus for 15 seconds or 10 minutes or however long it takes you to get to the next target or what have you.
Yeah, lock in, lock out, which is an interesting skill. Did you follow any of the Olympics?
I didn't.
Yeah. Did you see any of the highlights?
Oh, every once in a while.
Did you see the USA basketball highlights?
Just a couple.
Dude, the semifinals and the finals.
They came back from way down in the
cooked,
semi, right?
And yeah, they came down, especially in the semifinals. I know they were back. And like Steph Curry just went off. Like his highlight reel, crazy. It's just fun to see those guys play like they give a shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because that's kind of what disengaged me from the NBA, especially during the regular season, was it feels like it took them 3 quarters to get warmed up.
Yeah.
You know?
Or nobody really gave it their all until they realized what the score was and there was only 10 minutes left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that button comes on and then they're trying. And yeah, when they're trying, man, they are really good. Even LeBron James, like, I've always kind of leaned towards, I'm not a hater of LeBron. I'm a fan of Kobe and Michael.
Why can't you be a fan of all of them?
Well, because I think LeBron gets pulled in with them in a lot of conversations. And I think deservingly so he does. But his mindset's just different than theirs, you know?
They played in a different time. And I think that's the best way I can put it. They played in a time where you weren't friends with the other team. You weren't friends with the other guys on the other teams. You hated each other, right? It was more of a what's the best word of that? It's a famine mentality or whatnot. It was like everyone for themselves.
Yeah,
and and social media kind of changed that. Like everybody kind of knows everybody. Everybody's can be friends with everybody, and that creates a different environment where Jordan motivated his teammates out of fear.
Yeah, that's true.
100%. And I guarantee you Kobe did too.
And I don't know that Jordan would have been the greatest teammate to play with.
No, I don't. I think a lot of people that play with Jordan didn't like playing with Jordan, but they won. So, and it's a different mindset, right? Like LeBron's more of a trying to elevate the people around him rather than scare the shit out of them and hope they follow and obey because you were fearful, right? So it's just a different way of leadership. And, you know, what Jordan got 6 rings, Kobe got 5, right? How many's LeBron got? 4?
I don't know.
He's got 4.
Yeah.
He's got 4. Leader in points, leader in assists, isn't he a leader in assists now?
I'm not sure.
Leader, yeah, I'm pretty sure
he's
he is.
danced around the NBA pretty good.
He's played for so long at such a high level. Like nobody's played at the level he's playing at. Like I know I heard highlight stuff, right? And I know like he carried him in 3 games. He's 40.
Yeah, he's got great.
He's 40 and he's leading. He was the second highest scorer on the team, I think, for the whole thing. I think he was second in scoring.
Well, I can remember his first year in the NBA, like it was one of his first couple games, he had a triple-double, right?
Yeah.
Like he came out and, he was a freak athlete. But, and I respect him as an athlete and him as a player for sure. And I do think if I were to had to put a pen to paper and say top 5 or top 10 all time, he's definitely on that list. But like, I don't know, man. There's something about when it mattered the most, like you could really bet on Michael Jordan or Kobe that they could deliver, and they wanted to deliver, and they wanted that moment. And there's been times I watched LeBron play where I felt like he didn't always want that moment or that spotlight. And I think that's fine too, you know? It's just like, they're just different people.
Yeah.
Would you have LeBron in your top couple all time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Dude, Steph Curry is unbelievable. Like, I think at this point he has to be inarguably the greatest shooter of all time.
Yeah, I don't think that's even an argument.
Yeah, my nephew said that to me.
He passed like the most threes like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
He's still got probably 4 years left in his playing career.
Yeah.
And he shoots an insane amount of threes. Yeah. He'll I don't know if anyone will ever beat him as the best 3-point shooter of all time.
Inarguably. And you see some of these highlight clips of him like just throwing the ball up, and he's amazing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
He's literally amazing. And I kind of like that he shoots a set shot a lot. You know, like a lot of good NBA 3-point shooters shoot more of a jump shot. And a lot of times he'll like fake them out just so he can shoot a set shot, which I've always felt is like a little quicker way to deliver the ball. And I've always felt like it was definitely more accurate from downrange. I don't know, just at a personal level. But I like that he's just like, he'll like sidestep somebody and just shoot a set shot instead of like elevating.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
anyway, it was fun to watch. It's kind of been on my brain, but this is Archery podcast, I guess, or whatever. The fireside
just
chat.
one more comment on it. My comment on LeBron throughout his career, he did more with less than anybody else, in my opinion. Like,
yeah, Cleveland,
you look at some of the
teammates
teams
were dog cheeks.
You look at some of the teams he took to the finals and who was on those teams.
Yeah.
And you go, how are you in the finals?
I wonder what his record would be if we looked at how many times has he been to the finals, how many times has he won it?
I think he's 11 times.
Because he definitely went to the finals with some shitty teams out of the East.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
oh, absolutely. Like there was a period of time where LeBron could go down to the Y and grab 4 guys and say, "Come on, we're going to the finals." Like just stupid because he. So in my part of my argument of why I think he might be the greatest player ever is because I don't think anyone's ever done more with less.
Yeah.
Who's elevated the people around him more in basketball. So
yeah.
I don't like rings being the end all be all to who the greatest guy is because I mean didn't Wilt have like 11 or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So why are we even having this conversation if it's about championships?
Yeah.
Because people always gravitate back to Jordan.
There's like
6-0 in championships. Yeah. Wilt's got 11. So why is Wilt not the best player ever?
Right. And there's a couple more greats that have like a lot of championships.
Yeah.
Now on that thread though, doing more with less in my history, and I'm biased, but I don't remember a team winning the championship with less talent than the Pistons. Beating the Lakers in the finals. Chauncey Billups, Tayshaun Prince, Ben Wallace, Richard Hamilton.
That was a great example of a really equal talented team.
Yeah, just a team.
Which you don't typically get. Like you've usually got like 1 or 2 guys that are supremely talented and then skill players around them that play well with them. Right? Whereas that was just like a good balanced team.
Yeah. And beating the Lakers in the finals, including my boy Kobe Bryant.
Right?
Crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Crazy times. But yeah, anyway, podcast. We're an archery podcast. Fireside chat. We're just really 2 guys sitting by the fire is what we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's kind of hot. Kind of hot.
Yeah, it is hot. And you got to appreciate our dedication to having a fire during the dog days of summer here. So
yeah.
Let's talk about bulletproofing a bow because a lot of people are going to take to the field or they're near taking to the field, and like let's just make sure that thing isn't going to fall apart. Talk us through kind of the final once over.
Final once over, you definitely like check every bolt, every screw.
Just
make sure everything's good and snug and tight. Mark everything with a silver Sharpie that you can think would rotate or move or possibly move.
Which might include like your mods, your rest, your rest.
You could definitely mark your rest. If you're not an integrated rest or like one that sits on the side with a plate, you can draw around the plate in case it rotates on you. You can always mark where your cables are in relation to your cam. So if you have a cable stretch or something, you can look at it and verify that it's off or not. Let's see. Mark your limb bolts because those can move. It is not entirely uncommon for them to move. Draw a line on the edge of it, pointing at the other one, not the bezel, but the bolt itself. If your quiver slides up and down, you could mark it. So if it's shifting, you could see it. There's just any parts that move against each other. You can mark your sight if you know you're not going to move it. Mark the windage and elevation points where they cross the other metals. So if it does shift or slide or move or come loose, you could put it back to where it was.
Yeah.
Typically those things.
I would add shooting a few arrows through your whatever it is your hunting setup is. If that includes having a pack on or hunting out of a tree saddle. Or whatever the format or style of your hunting is, like definitely shoot some arrows just to make sure what can go wrong will go wrong. I remember, this is a great story. I showed up to bear camp last spring. I'm up in Canada, 8 hours from here, and that's a long way. That's a big effort. It's an international hunt. I got searched at the border to get there.
Yeah.
And then these bears start hitting this one spot, and we go and set up a ground blind. And I get set up in that ground blind, and I'm like, I better draw my bow back. So I draw my bow back. I put my pin on the area, and then I look back to my peep, and my freaking peep and my housing weren't even lined up. Just because I was like kitty wampus in that ground blind. So I had to like make an extra conscious step in my head to me. make sure that damn peep is lined up with that housing, because if you just went with what felt natural, it wasn't going to happen.
Right.
Yeah. And at that moment, I was like, this is why we shoot from our hunting situations.
Oh, absolutely.
Shoot off your knees, shoot off your butt, whatever that thing is that you might be doing, because there's nuance to it.
Yeah, get an elevated situation if you're shooting out of a tree.
Yeah.
Practice at those angles.
Yeah.
If you're in a ground blind, ideally set up your ground blind and shoot out of your ground blind
Yeah.
at a target or whatnot, or take a target out to where you're going to go.
Yeah.
I remember my dad used to every once in a while drag a target out to his tree stand that he was hunting in and practice out of the tree, climb up the tree and shoot a quiver full of arrows down the target.
Do you have a favorite mobile target? The one that, like if you drove down into Mexico, what target would be in the back of your truck?
I'd take a 3-foot 365.
Okay.
Period, because they don't take up that much room. It's only that thick. Like the 3-foot circle of it's that thick is all.
Yeah.
So you can pop the core out of it and chuck it in a corner, and then you only have like your 10 by 10. It's part of why I like the 10 by 10, not the 14 by 14, is the core's not as big, so trying to transport it's easier. And if you're really, really gangbusters, you can take 2 of those, cram them together, leave the core in one, so now it's 10 inches deep. Shove that in a corner, and then another core and 2 stands. You have 2 targets. If you want a couple different distances or something, and not have to walk around. Or if you're looking for something like super mobile, just like a ball or a square or whatnot, honestly, the 18-1 is hard to beat, and the Morel, the high rollers, the dice, they're a really good target. The foam's really durable on both of them. They hold up real well, and they're only 14 inches or that sort of thing.
And those little cores, like if you just
can just pop the core out.
Yeah, you can pop the core out, throw it on a stump or whatever.
Yeah, well, that's the other beauty of the 365 target is you could always just take your core with you.
It always seems to me, whatever hunts I end up going on, like there's not a lot of downtime at camp to shoot my bow. So I just really want to shoot it once, shoot it twice, shoot it whenever I can, and just make sure the things are still on. Like I typically, for whatever reason, just haven't had a lot of time to just like sling arrows in the middle of the day. Although that it is nice when it works out that way.
Yeah, well, it depends. Depends on what kind of hunting you're doing, how far you're traveling from your camp, that kind of thing. If you're hiking as opposed to if you're in a UTV or something like that.
Yeah.
And if you're covering a lot of ground, like if you're we're going to go search this area in the morning and then this area in the evening, kind of thing. All depends on the type of hunting you're doing. So I've had times where there's no time in camp, and I've had times where there's a lot of time in camp.
Yeah. And
usually because it's hot as balls.
Yeah. Or you get socked in by a little bit of weather.
Yep.
Yeah.
That'll get you.
Definitely, if you're going into the backcountry, it's not a bad idea to have some like audiobooks downloaded or something, or just a regular book, because there's a chance you get socked in for 8 hours. And I mean, keep your mind at ease, and you can only take so many naps,
Sure.
I've been in those situations where you get socked down.
I don't know. You give me 8 hours where I can't do anything, I'd probably sleep for 8 hours straight. I bet you I would. I'd probably have to set an alarm. Just worn out, man.
Yeah.
The grind is real.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, we're hitting the end of our busy season, or it should slow down by September 10th, 12th, something like that. But it's been real busy, like just nonstop. Cranking. It's
a lot of stuff showing up, man. Like you guys got a lot of stuff right now.
What tends to happen this time of year, so everybody who is behind starts getting caught up this time of year, especially if you're selling, cases and targets. So those are purchases that usually happen earlier in the year. So you start getting bombarded by the stuff they couldn't ship you earlier this time of year, and you got to start calling and canceling or pushing orders back. So we've gotten a lot of 365 targets in the past 3 weeks, like more than I would get for 2 months or 3 months, because they were just behind. And we'd run out of one, but not another. So you'd reorder more of those. And then by the time those get here, the other one's out, and constantly going. And we just got a big shipment of those 4318 SKBs. That's nicest bow case for under $300.
Yeah.
We just got like
You've been getting more good feedback on those?
120 of them. What?
You've been getting more good feedback on those?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got no complaints, man. It's an amazing case.
Yeah.
It's really good for the money. If you're not, you could take it flying, but if you're not primarily flying with it, it's probably the best thing you can buy. Just because it's a little smaller, it's more of a contoured case, it's more custom fit for a bow as opposed to a generic insertion, but it doesn't have wheels and a handle, but it weighs less. So if you're going to pick it up and walk it to your car and walk it back to your house and then take it to camp and that kind of thing, it's a great case for that. If you're flying through multiple airports, etc., wheels and a handle are kind of handy.
Yeah.
Because you're usually hauling that thing a ways and having to lift it sucks.
Yeah, I like having the wheels on my case.
Yeah. It's handy. But like if that's not your plan, or if flying to go hunting somewhere is like a dream that's going to happen once in your life or twice in your life, that's the case to buy, hands down. It's really nice inside and out. And it's reasonably lighter than the main case I usually use, which is nice if you're actually carrying it.
So if you committed to going on your first hunt with the Lift 33, there's not a back bar on that, right?
No.
You're going to stick with that? Yeah.
Yep.
Even though you might stretch a shot out, huh? You're feeling good about the offset bar?
That bow's shooting really good the way it is.
Yeah.
It really is. I've been twice a week out at my cousin's house where we have a 150 to 200 yard range. Mm-hmm. And all we do is shoot 150 plus and just dial and dial and dial and dial and dial. And that bow's shooting good. Okay. Like I keep monkeying with things and trying different things, but the initial setup that I had on that thing, it's really accurate.
And you're going to go with the same stand axis?
Yep.
That's your hunting release. Dang, 2 years in a row.
For that type of hunting, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't seen a better one like that yet. I'm sure it'll come. But
it's called the Stand Solex.
No. No, thank you. I want all three. I want all three fingers on it. That's kind of important to me.
Yeah.
It just feels right.
Yeah.
And it shoots clean. So I have no complaints. I got a little more movement out of the trigger, which I probably need to play with as I've used it. So it's loosened up a little bit, but I don't want to touch it. Like, yeah, it's all right. I can feel it. It's okay.
That's your baby, huh?
I'm comfortable with it.
Yeah.
Now.
I thought you might end up hunting with a clicker.
I probably would in the tree stand ground blind stuff, but I haven't. I've been working on my distance stuff. Period. So even though I've gone hunting twice in tree stand ground blind stuff, I'm still using that release because I'm focused on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, nothing wrong with the clicker for once you get where you're going and you're setting it up, hooking it on, let go of it, leave it there.
Yeah,
it's a good unit.
And the click is so soft that that would never be a concern.
Right.
That I would have that it would like.
I've shot animals with it. Like.
Yeah.
I shot. That's what I was using when I shot that bull aster out of a tower blind.
Yeah, where you get all the reverb from.
Yeah.
Every little noise sounds like it's way louder than it really is.
Yep, and it was pretty quiet.
Yeah. Well, we're coming into the fall where all this new bow launch stuff is coming. It's around the corner. Do you got anything unique or different planned out for the tubes?
Oh, as far as for bow launch?
Yeah, any of that stuff. Anything for bow launch or, anything interesting coming around the pipeline?
For bow launch, like I said, I'll probably change my format a little bit. I think I'm going to go to 10 points instead of 5. I think that because there's so many times where I'm like, I really want to give this a 3 or a 4 and I can't decide, then I could give it a 7. And I might separate it a little bit more. I think that'll be a positive thing. I may combine a couple of the categories into one thing and, value some higher than others. I don't know if I would do 5s and 10s. Like this category only counts for 5, but this counts for 10. I don't know. But I'll get it hammered out here before September. But yeah, it's and I think I'll do the noise. Still trying to get that vibration tool to work right. I still don't. It doesn't seem to reverb right. Like something's not right with what's going on. So I don't know if there's a better tool out there. Comment down below, and if you know a better tool for me to use to measure vibration of a riser when it goes off, that would be cool.
That is a nice thing to have measured, man, because, as you pointed out, it's a pretty important feature. And to just be able to throw some numbers on that would be great.
Yeah,
it's reliable.
Especially something that gives you an actual digital readout number.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like to use things like that because it's very easy to validate.
Yeah.
Right. So
on the sound thing, I think it would be cool to have that included with every test. Mm-hmm. But the challenging thing is everything needs to be the same every time it's recorded. So maybe it just makes more sense at the end to just do a cumulative, under the same conditions.
For sound?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe.
because sound is so dependent on the condition. So,
well, yeah, but if it's in here, how's that not going to be different?
well, the microphone could be 6 inches or 12 inches further. I mean, it just needs to be like scientific.
Sure. No, yeah. I'd have a specific place where the microphone is mounted and stays.
Yeah.
And a specific place I shoot from.
Yeah.
That's always the same.
Yeah. If it was always
no different than I'm always shooting the same distance to the chronograph.
Yeah. And it was repeatable. I think that would be really cool to have included, because it's nice to see those numbers.
Yeah.
And we did find out that like there's a quantifiable difference. Now, the conspiracy theorists of the internet would say to you that, well, how would you know that the thing's not reading the sound of the target? Because that was like the opposite side of the reaction that when we published the video.
Yeah.
And what I would say to those people is, well, because Josh and I tested it before we did it.
Yeah. Yeah, and we figured out how far away we had to be from the target, that the bow noise was higher than the noise of the arrow striking the target.
If I was to remake that, I would just throw the target outside or something, just so there wasn't that other side of the,
you know. That's an idea.
Yeah, because then you're just isolating the sound of the bow.
Yeah.
Which we did isolate, but
yeah, we were technically shooting. We were shooting from the other room.
Like I always say on YouTube, a good idea with a video is like, show me, don't tell me, and it's like it just makes it more visual. It's like then there can't be the conspiracy theorists, or whatever.
They'll still find a way.
That's fun though. It is fun to have the kind of
this guy's a paid plant for Mathews. I'm like, what the
He's
frick,
an industry plant.
Oh my God! Like you guys
the internet
ridiculous.
wouldn't be the internet without those people, though.
I know it's all good fun, and at the end of the day, 98% of the people know those 2% of people are full of shit.
Yeah,
but it's still silly to see it.
Yeah,
like,
and sometimes
you really have nothing better to do you?
Yeah. Yeah, and sometimes if you're in the wrong mood, you can look at those things and maybe get a little tiffed at it or whatever about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
if you catch me on the wrong day at the wrong time, if I had a really rough day or just really exhausted, and then I was foolish enough to go look at that.
You've always kept a really healthy relationship with not being too consumed by the numbers or the comments.
I don't know if there's another way to do this, honestly.
Well, I think it's really good, and I think that's a really good thing. It's a healthy way to approach this thing that you call the internet.
Yeah, I like the comments. One, because I'm a very big, strong free speech person.
Mm-hmm.
Say whatever you think. You should have a right to do that.
Yeah, and
it shouldn't be taken away just because I don't agree with it or I find it offensive.
Mm-hmm.
That's stupid. Just go ahead, go nuts. So, and it's my opportunity to express my free speech rights to the public.
Yeah.
So I'm not touching it, and unless it gets like really vulgar. Like early on, there was like porn type crap that kept popping up on there. I had to figure out how to block that and delete those things. But ever since I figured that out, I haven't really had anything that was like detrimental or like, man, that really needs to get removed. But there's all kinds of people out there, and sometimes they say really inappropriate things. But I do really believe wholeheartedly in free speech, and I just don't look at it. And other than I'll go look at it for ideas for a video or something, or if I had asked a question like, hey, comment down below on if there's different tools out there that somebody knows of that'll do a better job.
Yeah.
And then I'll go back and look at the comments of that. But outside of that, I don't. I just don't.
Yeah, that's one of the perks, right? Is like I've garnered some really great ideas and thoughts out of the comment section too.
Yeah.
Like somebody somewhere will be like, why don't you try something this way?
Sure.
And it's like, shit. I mean, it's like bouncing ideas off your friends, except you have a lot more friends.
No, for sure.
And some of those friends are just a little weirder,
Yeah. Well, I think the other thing that makes it really easy for me to just not care or not look is I'm not looking for validation.
Right.
I'm not looking for someone to say I did a good job or anything like that. Like I'm not looking for that at all.
Yeah.
So it comes in there and I get messages from people and whatnot, but I'm not looking for that at all. So why would I be looking in there? Because that's usually what you're doing is you're looking for validation that you did a good job or people like what you did. Mm-hmm. And I'm just not looking for that. Sometimes I want feedback and sometimes I want critical feedback. That's fine. But in general, I'm just not. And I remember before I really started doing this, I I think it was Justin who actually suggested for me to listen to Joe Rogan's podcast when I'd never listened to a podcast in my life. And it was one of the first things I picked up on from him was don't read the comments.
Yeah.
It's that old whatever it is. It's like if one out of 1,000 people or 1 out of 100 people is an asshole on his, that's a million assholes on there. It's like, oh man, yeah, he's not kidding. But that means there's 999 million positive people or whatever. So it's pointless. Don't waste your time.
One of the respects I have for him is he's always kept it kind of true to him. Like it doesn't like he's not doing things for validation. He's not doing things for attention. He genuinely seems to be doing things because he's genuinely curious about the thing or person he wants to talk about, and he just wants to have a good conversation. And yeah, man, because the bigger you get, the more people want to pull on your strings, and he hasn't given them strings to pull on. It seems from my observation, which is cool, and especially because now he's got a lot of money attached to what he does, but also he's done a good job not letting that change what he does.
Well, exactly. That's the incredible thing.
That's the beautiful
he's still
thing,
doing the same thing he always has, and he just happens to be making a lot of money for it.
Still talks how he talks.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
yeah. Still says things that would get you canceled.
Yeah.
I
think that's
too bad.
Yeah.
But that's why it's so popular.
Yeah.
It's because it's authentic and it's real, and they're not pretending.
Yeah.
That's just the reality of it. I think that's part of why this has done so well as quickly as it has. It's because it's very genuine and authentic, and we're just two guys talking.
Yeah, hopefully that is part of it, because that's something that's always been really important to me. Is like I don't want to bend for anything really. I just want to do things for to be genuine or whatever, authentic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Which we're our Mathews Limb podcast did what? How many? Do you look at it today? How many views is it up to now?
So in the first day, it did almost 30,000 in the first day
on YouTube. Yeah,
that one would hit the algorithm viralness, which we haven't had a podcast do.
Well, the whole reality of it, honestly, was this limb thing needed to be addressed.
It did,
and nobody was really addressing it.
It was bursting at the seams.
Yeah, I was just like, please talk about this. Someone please talk about this. And I even told him before I did it, it's like, I'm gonna talk about it.
Yeah,
you guys really should say something.
Yeah,
you should address it.
It's better to get in front of it than behind it.
Yeah, because it can get blown way out of proportion if you don't get in front of it and be authentic about what's going on here. But it's like I have to talk about it. I got every video of mine, yours, and Dan's that I would go back and look at comments on in the past month has questions in there about it when you're not even talking about that product at all. So if they're asking you questions about something on something different, there's a lot of people curious. Yeah. And you need to address it.
It was bursting at the seams.
Yeah. Yeah. And hopefully at the time this airs, they have addressed it, because I talked to my rep this morning and they said they intend to address it just to clear the air so they know what's going on and what the protocol is.
Yeah, they seem like a company of integrity, and I would expect them to handle it of such.
Well, and that's one of the videos I actually did go back and look at comments, because I was curious after that what kind of feedback I was going to get, and there were multiple people claiming they've been through multiple sets of limbs, et cetera, right? And I'm like, well, hold on a second, how's that? Because I called them and it's like, hey, how many people have actually gotten more than one?
Yeah,
said there was a period of time where the limbs that they had produced with the material they had an issue with, they didn't know they had an issue. So a limb would crack and they'd send out new limbs, and it was the same batch. But my rep made a really good point when I talked to him about it. And he's like, well, some shops will have a tendency to resolve that issue for a customer by grabbing another bow, taking the limbs off and putting them on their bow. Well, if that bow is in the same batch that had an issue, you just put bad limbs back on that
they
bow.
All shipped from the same thing.
Yeah. So I think that's the guys who were claiming they got more than one set. I think that's probably what happened, is that your shop was just trying to take care of your problem as quickly as possible, and they tore apart another bow, not knowing that was another bow in that batch.
No.
So it's all completely been resolved. It's not like I said, it's not a design thing at all. Which and I once again get you're a Mathews guy. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, I'm a warranty guy because I had to fix every broken fucking thing for like 25 years.
Yeah.
So I pay attention to that stuff really closely because I know, and you guys probably aren't aware of this, but a shop doesn't get paid to fix your warranty work. If I represent that company by carrying their product, I am agreeing to fix their broken shit for free. Right? So if that breaks and it's under warranty, they send me the parts, I fix the bow, and I do not get compensated by the manufacturer to fix it. So I have a choice. I either do it for free or I bill you labor. It's up to me as a business owner what I choose to do. We don't charge. We just fix it as long as you bought the bow from us. You buy the bow from us, we're going to cover the labor for free. It's part of buying a bow from us, right? Well, and whenever you have something that's a higher failure rate product, it costs you a lot as a dealer to carry that product because you're not recouping the labor. Like, oh yeah, it's great. The manufacturer covers the part, but the dealer's not recouping the labor. That's a real problem, right? If it's happening a lot. So when I emphasize the relevance of this and the timeline, and it's not a failing thing, if their bows were failing like that, I wouldn't be pushing them, talking about them, or promoting them at all because I'm going to have to fix them and I'm going to eat the cost. So believe me when I tell you this is a very small, isolated thing that's getting blown way out of proportion, and it's been resolved 100% as a dealer to another dealer. That's the reality of this. So, because at the end of the day, selling things and not charging for repair when something's authentically a warranty, if there's a lot of them, you're going to lose your ass. So,
Yeah.
for what it's worth.
Yeah. Which would be challenging, right? In an already
Yeah.
low margin, challenging business.
Yeah. Yeah. No, the only real gripe I've got, honestly, from them was when the lift came out this year, the 29.5, which if you go back and watch my Can I Build a Lift in 2 hours and go hunt with it the next day, that I shot that bull with, I top hatted my bow and it moved from a point right tear to a point left tear. And I only moved one. And I'd never had that with a Mathews.
Yeah.
If you could almost always move both of them and it would move it a little bit. And it moved it a lot. And then I'd seen it half a dozen times. Like, that's moving a lot. And so I encouraged them to make 10 thousandths top hats instead of 20 thousandths top hats because each set position of a top hat's 20 thousandths of movement from left to right when you reinstall it into the cam. And they opted not to because you could move the rest a little bit and get it to tune.
Sure.
And that just bugs me. It was wrong. And so I asked them, I was like, right, if you're not going to do it, are you going to sue me if I do it? And he's like, I'll call you back in a couple of days. Let me go talk to everybody and blah, blah, blah. And went through and it's like, you know what? We will not come after you for making this because we're not going to. So they should be out by now. I have full sets of 6 top hats, not 3. And they're in between each size that exists along with the ones that exist. And I took the existing ones and re-anodized them and laser etched them. So it's a 6-color kit. So each matching top hat's a different color. So they match each other.
Have you set a price on it?
No. When it comes out, it'll be on there, but I don't know my final landed cost on all this yet. I'll know it Friday or Monday from here, which is a couple weeks ahead of there. So that then the laser etched the 2 and the 1s that are on there. So it's like visibly really easy to see them across the board and they all step in line. So it was kind of the way I felt it should have been ideally. And I just saw it enough and got tired of it enough and hurt and had questions about it enough and went, well, screw it. I'll just make a set. And if they sell, they sell. And if they don't, I've resolved the problem and issue we feel or that we didn't like. So, and when I got my first prototype set, because we couldn't get Dan's bow tuned either without moving his wrist, and went over to his house and tried the new set and took it. We moved it one direction, moved it the other direction without him, and then put that in there and got a perfect bolt hole without moving the rest. So it did exactly what I was expecting it to do. So it does work. It's more relevant on a 29.5, and it does work on all of their bows from the Halon forward. So they've all used that same top hat. So if you want a little more finite adjustment on your wheel lean position on any Mathews bows, including the titles, that is available now.
Very cool.
I'm hoping it's around $100 for the full set, but like I said, I don't have my landed cost yet, so it might be a little more than that. But
Well, very good. On that note, fires out. Fires out. Appreciate you guys. Podcast is doing really well, and it's awesome to see. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, no, this has been a really enjoyable experience and a positive endeavor for something that I didn't really think would be. So that's great. And we enjoy really talking to you guys and sharing my life and Tim's life with you here. And I hope you enjoy it too. So appreciate you following along, and leave a review, please. Thank you much.
Catch you back.